If you're watching Strictly on Saturday, so we don't have to, keep us in the loop by all means.
But don't feel you've got to. I can live without. I'm fine. I'm good.
So most of our punters don't really even watch Doctor Who. Never mind Strictly Come Dancing, which is something that they've got in common with this guy. So Peter Purves has been back in the news this weekend. He's been out and about himself. More on that in a moment. But Peter Purves, who opened the latest exhibition a couple of months ago, has been speaking to the Daily Star. Someone's got
dangerous, very dangerous.
Peter's been speaking to the Daily Star over the weekend, and so they have run with it. They've said that Doctor Who legend Peter Purves isn't a fan of the show these days, and that the 86-year-old TV icon. Now that's fair. That is accurate. I think he does count as a TV icon, what with one thing or another. Has claimed that the show has simply changed too much and lost what he felt made it special.
Really? What would make him say that, I wonder?
Well, he went on to say when Doctor Who. This is very telling, because this is an observer who is in the industry, part of the family, the community, but has that kind of objective eye as well. Because I would imagine that Peter can probably go for several days, if not several weeks, without thinking about Doctor Who. But he said on speaking to the Star, he said that when Doctor Who started, it was a children's program. We had a weekly cliffhanger, and it was simple. I liked it when it was straightforward entertainment, but it's a very different show now. I don't watch it anymore, to be honest.
I love that last line.
There's no fat on that, really, is there? I mean, he's hardly alone, is he? That's the good news. Nobody really watches Doctor Who anymore, Peter. So, I wouldn't necessarily feel too bad about that. But the Star really went with this. I mean, they're not trying to stir any trouble for a change, I suspect, and neither is Peter Purves. You get to that time of life, he's got nothing left to prove.
He doesn't care, does he?
No. So had you seen this, Simon? Because I think we all know Peter Purves, don't we?
No. I completely passed this one by. You're quite right. I'm sure he goes weeks, if not months, without thinking about Doctor Who. But the thing is with Peter Purves, he's always been there, hasn't he? He's always stuck with Doctor Who. In certainly the past sort of 20 years or so, he's always just sort of rumbled along. He's not somebody that's ever sort of disappeared and gone off radar, as it were. He's always just been ticking along. I mean, I've even listened to some of the commentaries that he's done where he's moderated it. So these are DVD commentaries where he's not necessarily in the story, but the black and white episodes that he himself has then sort of moderated. So he absolutely is a bit of a. I don't think he's a fan. I think it would be unfair to call him a fan. He's not as crackers as us lot, but I think he's got a lot of love for Doctor Who. I really do think he has a lot of love, not just for the time that he was in it, just for the show and the idea and the concept in itself. And so I think it's very telling. But what he's saying there, as I say, he's a little bit like, Dan, do you remember when we met Michael Jaston at Hooverville? And he he just didn't care what he said.
Didn't give a shit.
No, absolutely. And I think you just get to that age. I kind of feel I'm getting to it now, where you just don't care. You'll call a spade, and you'll be honest about it. And Peter Purves is there. He doesn't care. He's got nothing to prove, and he's got no axes to grind, and so he can just call it for what it is, and he can say it straight down the line. And that's what he's doing, and he does it very succinctly. And I think he speaks for a lot of us. So well done, Peter. Nice one.
I mean, you'd have been forgiven if you were Peter Purves for thinking that perhaps once you'd left it behind, that you would never have to talk about it ever again. Way back then. But here he is, all these decades on, so still playing the part here and there, and still being asked about it. He went on to claim that it couldn't go back now. It's gone too far to go back.
I disagree with him there, personally. I do disagree with him there.
It's up for debate, isn't it, that one?
I think he could absolutely go back. I see. You only really need to look at where the state of the show was at the end of the 80s, when it was cancelled for the first time. Well, at least fully cancelled for the first time. And then when it came back in 2005 and took the world by storm and was a completely different beast to what it had been at the end of the 80s. So no, I disagree with him. Doctor Who, I think, he's one of those things that absolutely can reinvent itself spectacularly, and I'm in no doubt that it will. It'll probably take a few years, which is why I believe it needs a rest of a few years, and then it will come back. I disagree. I don't think it's gone too far to come back, personally.
Yeah, he's offered some sage words, I feel, as a man who's been associated with the show for a long time and has had that long career. He said it's very extravagant and there are lots of special effects. You can see the money on the screen. It's a multi-million-pound production. It looks incredible, but it's not really Doctor Who for me. He did say I would love a cameo, but it won't happen. I mean,
well, it won't now.
yeah. I think you pissed on your own chips there now, pal. But he was in that Tales from the TARDIS a couple of years ago, which I think that counts. I think he played the part beautifully, or recreated the part beautifully. So again, he's acknowledging the ways in which it has advanced, but what he's pointing at is that it's lost some of its soul, Sarah, I think, certainly for Peter.
Yeah, and it's true. Yeah, we've all kind of said, one of the positives of this era has been it's looked fantastic, but yeah, there's something, really superficial about it. It has tended to be style over substance, and as we've always said, it's the quality of the writing that consistently lets it down, and that's where it's strayed. Doctor Who doesn't seem to know who its audience is anymore. I think Russell and his team had got a very set idea of what they thought the audience was, but that's not transpired at all. So yes, Peter's got a good point. As for the cameo, I mean, I think he's dodged a bullet. It could have been a cow, Charlotte.
I was about to say.
See, what struck me about this comment in particular, Charlotte, is more because for me, for everything that Sarah's just said, and that's true, obviously the stories, the scripts, it all counts. But for me, Doctor Who is strangely as much about the way it makes me feel. And I think that that's what Peter's pointing to, that despite all of that if it's not in touch with something fundamental, then there's a problem. I mean, he did go on to say that at the moment he is celebrating his own 60th anniversary of his first appearance in Doctor Who, and he's very proud of what he did. So he's, just like Simon said, he's not trying to distance himself from the show, but there is that awareness there. I think he's a class act, Peter Purves.
Yeah, and here you can see he's been very polite. He's been very thought out with his comments. He's not trying to sort of start anything at all. He's just sort of saying very truthfully how he feels about the show. And he's not the only one. In the last couple of years, we've had a few classic actors, whether they're companions or even doctors, sort of start to say what they might not like or what they're seeing as different. I think, was it Fraser Hines a couple of years ago made a comment about that he thought it had changed or what he didn't quite like, what was different in his eyes. And I think what it is, when you've been a part of something, I think it's more easy to see when it starts to stray, when it starts to become something else, because you were part of that machine at one point. You knew the writers, or you knew the directors, or you worked with the other actors on the set. You sort of have that inside view. So then when you step out, you can sort of see it in a very different light to what we see it as. And for me, he is talking about another aspect that is, it feels like with every series of the current run, the idea of we just want to be entertained was getting lost. We just want to escape. We just want a doctor that can just whisk us off to an adventure for a Saturday night and see an amazing sight or have a brilliant friendship on screen. And all those things seem to get less and less important to the production. And I think when you lose those aspects, you can have all your CG. That's also what I think he's alluding to a little bit here. You can have all that money, but we don't connect to that stuff truthfully. We sort of go, no, but who's the Doctor? I want to follow the Doctor. I want to follow a Doctor and companion. I want to be scared. I want monsters that are literally going to make me think, God, I'm not going to sleep tonight. And it's some people can see that as basic, but for me, that's the core of the show.
I would agree.
And I do think it's been lost.
And I think what Peter Purves is saying here, Charlotte, is very much that it is just a different show now. And I know that I've been called a dinosaur enough times that things move on, and so it's a different show to the one you watched as a kid. And it is. But the way I would look at it is, it doesn't have to be. If you as a production team want to make the kind of show that you want to make, you just don't call it Doctor Who. You just start a new show. I still don't understand, and I think this is what Peter is sort of saying, really. I don't understand why it had to change so much. Why it could still be Doctor Who. We could still have Doctor Who on the screens, and they could make another show about something else that they want to make about and call that something completely different. But we could still have Doctor Who. That's what I can't understand, and I think what Peter's referring to here.
What you're referring to, the fact that in 2005, me as an 11-year-old could watch it.
Yeah.
And absolutely fall in love, and you could watch it as somebody who'd been there through the classic run, who knew this inside out, and could also quite enjoy that first little series.
You could see that it was the same beast, Charlotte. Yes. That's the thing.
And the fact that both me and you, in such a different sort of starting point, could both sit down and watch the same television show and go, that's either, for me, this is a show I love, I want to watch it more, or for you to go, wow, they've done it. They've managed to bring it back, and it still feels like Doctor Who.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think Peter's talking about here. When he says they've gone too far, it's gone too far. I think that's what he means. It has changed too much.
So if they won't listen to us, maybe listen to some of the Doctor Who legends, those who are still steering the ship for now. Peter, don't worry about it, mate. We all feel largely the same. Peter Purves has 4 films in the pipeline right now. There's a lot of actors half his age that would struggle with that workload. And the Peter Purves podcast is very much up and running. We told you about that a few weeks ago. It's across all major podcatchers. There's one episode where he interviews Colin Baker, and I believe the second one features Valerie Singleton too, another Blue Peter legend.
Brilliant.
So get on that. It was Peter that was called upon to open the latest Doctor Who exhibition, of course. Who else throwing himself into the part there? And he's been out and about since too, keeping very, very busy. Not least of all, this quick look ahead to something coming up at some point in the future, Sarah, because you've tracked him down, haven't you? Was it to bring him to task for those comments? I mean, we're gonna cover this in a future edition of the show. But how was he when you met up with him?
Oh, he's absolutely delightful. He's so funny and charming, and he doesn't mince his words, as you've seen. He was very happy with that interview. We'd got a copy of the Daily Star in, and it got it was the centre spread, so it was quite amusing, and he was really chuffed with himself.
I bet he was.
Made the centre.
I hadn't realised.
Very. So he showed it, and all the audience went, "Woo!" You know. It's very entertaining. Very entertaining. And the pride comes through. I mean, obviously, he's had a illustrious career, continues to do so. It got lots of things to talk about. But the pride shone through what he did. He loved his time on that. He loved Bill. He loved Maureen. It got lots of things to say. There's just too much for me to say. But I was enraptured, because obviously I only really know him as Stephen Taylor, or doing Crofts. But Blue Peter passed me by. But there was enough in there. Listen to everything, greeting everybody. It was just so lovely. Fantastic.
I can't wait to get the full debrief. We're going to see who we can bring in for that. If that doesn't tease you, I don't know what does. Thank you, Sarah.